you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
The Whistleblower Emerges. A former castmate of Rachel Zegler, someone who not only acted alongside her, but was once thought to share a close off-screen friendship, has now come forward with startling accounts of what really unfolded behind the scenes of Disney's live-action Snow White. Their statements have peeled back the polished curtain, exposing tensions and creative disputes that simmered during production. From Rachel's strained interactions with fellow actors to friction in the film's core vision, this insider, partially anonymous, but identified by several media outlets as a confidant turned whistleblower, claims the set was anything but the smooth, cheerful atmosphere often projected by Disney.
I love what you said about wanting to entertain audiences, critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means.
The final days. In the final weeks before release, Disney went almost silent. Rachel's appearances vanished, Gal's statements became carefully curated, and promotional content dried up. As for Rachel, the insider expressed empathy. Though she became the lightning rod, they believe she was ultimately caught in a storm she didn't start. Fan revolt spreads beyond the film. The fallout wasn't isolated to one film. Broader dissatisfaction with Disney's recent choices bled into criticism of its streaming service. Whether fair or not, the Snow White controversy became a lightning rod for deeper discontent. No delays, no confidence. As the March 21st release date loomed, online speculation intensified. Would Disney delay the film or drop it directly to streaming?
Just last week, the media and the shill influencers were trying to do everything they could to save Snow White from being a complete and total flop in the box office, and they've failed miserably. This movie is already a complete and total disaster, and it is so bad that now even the media has to admit.
The insider says that although postponement was discussed, it was ultimately ruled out. Snow White stayed locked in, a risky move that could cement its fate. Disney goes quiet. Despite public reassurances, Disney insiders allegedly knew they had a problem. Executives publicly lauded the cast and framed the movie as a story of self-discovery. But internally, morale hit rock bottom. So the studio quietly pulled back, leaving fans to notice the silence and draw their own conclusions. Test screenings. Sound the alarm after filming wrapped, focus shifted to post-production. Test screenings yielded mixed to poor feedback. These reactions, the ex-co-star claims, triggered emergency reshoots and last-minute edits that only deepened the chaos. Fractures in the creative team. This discord wasn't limited to the cast. According to the source, changes in the directing team created further unrest. Still, the studio pressed on.
It does seem like the media have got the throw her under the bus green light, though, when we're posting things like this. We're slagging her off behind the scenes, we're dropping all the information, and then reminding you of, her attacking the majority of the population of America when she posted F the Orange Man.
Banking on the idea that a modern, feminist reinterpretation would win over a new generation, despite signs that the gamble wasn't paying off. Set morale hits rock bottom. Behind closed doors, morale reportedly took a nosedive. Both Rachel and Gal were said to be feeling the strain. Rachel, still relatively new to major roles, was juggling immense expectations. Although never explosive, these disagreements created an undercurrent of tension that the crew struggled to work around. The public falls silent. Even as damage control intensified, Rachel's comments continued to draw attention. A turning point came when an interview in which she emphasized how fairy tales must evolve went viral for all the wrong reasons.
I think it's fair to say that no one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie. And yet, Christian, you've seen the movie, and it appears that the filmmakers cobbled together enough salvageable material to make the movie itself quite nice.
As press access dwindled, media headlines began questioning if the studio was actively hiding its cast. Marketing panic mode. Marketing teams, caught in the storm, scrambled to make sense of it all. Normally, Disney would lean on nostalgia while hyping up new elements. But that strategy became nearly impossible when fans felt the new version had discarded everything they loved. The insider described the effort as a daily emergency, with brand cohesion slipping further out of reach. The dwarf redesign backlash, the dwarves, once charming caricatures, were another major point of contention. Early leaks showed characters that barely resembled their iconic 1937 counterparts.
Because right now there's more dwarves on this podcast than there are in the new Snow White movie. And that's probably due to Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
The final designs reflected compromise and left both sides unhappy. The interview that sparked outrage. Rachel, under pressure to defend the film, occasionally adopted a sharp tone, suggesting in one interview that critics clinging to the old damsel in distress narrative were stuck in the past. Though likely meant to sound progressive, her words offended some longtime Disney fans, sparking a wave of online outrage. Marketing chaos behind the scenes. These interpersonal dynamics fed directly into a series of promotional missteps. Originally scheduled to debut on March 21st, 2025, the film's rollout was plagued by delays, canceled appearances, and missed media opportunities.
Snow White reviews are in. Snow White, how shall we say? Data points are in, because we now know that it was a flop.
Disney's PR team chalked it up to logistics, but the ex-co-star claims it was a response to a escalating controversy. Rachel versus Gal Gadot. Amid all this, rumors of conflict between Rachel and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, began to swirl. While some reports claimed outright hostility, the insider paints a subtler picture. There wasn't overt animosity, they say, but the two leads had fundamentally different acting styles and priorities. Their professional approaches didn't mesh, resulting in a cool, formal working relationship. Was Rachel to blame? While many online critics laid the blame squarely on Rachel for the film's direction.
You know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
The former colleague insists she was not the architect of those revisions. Instead, they say the creative leads aimed to appeal to Gen Z sensibilities, swapping out romance for revolution. Rachel reportedly expressed private concern that this departure might alienate traditional fans. But once the studio settled on that vision, she publicly leaned into it. Rachel Zegler caught in the middle. Executives, writers, and directors were allegedly split between preserving the fairy tale's heart and aggressively updating it for modern audiences. Rachel, they say, found herself torn in the middle, privately uneasy with the new arc, but publicly expected to champion it.
So did you go directly from West Side? Like, did you have to audition for Snow White, or like, oh, they saw you in West Side Story, they're like, you're Snow White?
Yeah, West Side Story was kind of nowhere near coming out. We were about like 6 months away from release and no footage had been seen.
She soon became the face of changes she hadn't fully endorsed. The stress of defending the controversial reboot reportedly weighed on her, especially as fan backlash intensified. A story already dividing fans. Long before any official footage dropped, the 2025 remake had already divided audiences. Fans debated how the revamped narrative focused on toppling tyranny rather than magical dwarfs and poisoned apples, strayed from the beloved 1937 original.
Oh my god, well, when you get to wear Sandy Powell, first of all, insane, and then you get to be lit by Mandy Walker, and Nadia Stacey designed your hair and makeup, it's like the most incredible thing in the world, and then all of a sudden you open your eyes and you watch the playback, which I never do.
Detractors argued that the essence of Snow White had been lost in the overhaul, but according to the ex-co-star, these script deviations were just the surface of a much deeper divide. The Whistleblower Emerges. A former castmate of Rachel Zegler, someone who not only acted alongside her, but was once thought to share a close off-screen friendship, has now come forward with startling accounts of what really unfolded behind the scenes of Disney's live-action Snow White. Their statements have peeled back the polished curtain, exposing tensions and creative disputes that simmered during production. From Rachel's strained interactions with fellow actors to friction in the film's core vision, this insider, partially anonymous, but identified by several media outlets as a confidant turned whistleblower, claims the set was anything but the smooth, cheerful atmosphere often projected by Disney.